if you don't know me, my name's Kristen Tiggis, and I have been using doTERRA products, natural products, for like over a decade. I am a health coach. I can go ahead and go to the next slide, I guess. I'm a health coach, and I have two boys, wild and crazy boys. They are 7 and 3. And I'm originally from South Dakota, like a farm girl through and through. Then we moved to Texas, and just recently we moved to London, England. And so that is why this class is a little bit earlier, because of the time difference. But I'm so excited for today's class, and it's just like so fun because Morgan and I get to teach this together. And to give you a little of the backstory, Morgan and I were college roommates for 4 years in undergrad, and Morgan continued on to become even more brilliant, and she can share more about that next.
I'm just the same as I've always been. I just like to learn. So yeah, I'm Morgan Jameson. I'm from a very small town in Iowa named Sully. It's near Pella. If you guys have heard of Pella Windows or ever heard of Tulip Time in Pella, that's where I grew up. But I met Kristen in college, and we stuck together for the whole 4 years, and then continued on. So I am mom of a 3-year-old daughter. She's wild and crazy and very stubborn like me. I have a 6-year-old Bernedoodle mix, mini Bernedoodle mix, and he's also crazy and stubborn like me. And my husband and I are super excited to have another kiddo coming on the way after 3 losses in 2021. We are super pumped to have a new one joining the family. So we currently now live near Rockford, Illinois, but we were Chicago crazy people for, he was there for 10 years and I was there for quite a while, approximately 8 years. And we're really loving having a little bit more space and some more community out here in a smaller area. So I love hanging out with Kristen and learning from Kristen about oils. I'm a physician assistant, so I trained in neurosurgery and orthopedics, and had a little bit of a 180 in the last 3 years when it comes to medicine. I love modern medicine, but I also love utilizing natural solutions now, and have found that my love for medicine is now completely rejuvenated. I was getting pretty burnt out in the Western medicine world, and since Kristen started helping me use oils and learn about oils, and now that I'm an advocate, I've been really loving helping people use natural solutions to potentially prevent having to go to the hospital, but most often just give great care and proactive care for people really wanting to up their health journey. So I'm excited to be here.
So good. Thanks for sharing, Morgan. To give you guys a little bit of an idea of what we're going to talk about today, we are going to start by chatting just like more foundational conversations about the metabolism. And we want you all to leave this class feeling empowered that your metabolism isn't just something that's like happening to you, but instead something that you can do proactively. You can proactively support your metabolism at every different age and stage. So again, just to share a little bit more about me, I actually started learning more about metabolism about 2 years ago. It was a topic that I was curious about, and was in a place where I had gained weight after my second baby, and just honestly fluctuated a lot, and always felt just uncertain of what to do to support my body outside of eating healthy and exercising. Like the more of the specifics is what I wanted to learn. And then fast forward, then doTERRA in September came out with a whole line to support the metabolism. So I was jazzed. And last year I actually started my own journey in March. So it was before doTERRA had actually released their products, but I started doing some specific things to support my metabolism. And then as I went through the whole of the year, I ended up losing about, I keep saying 15 pounds, but it really is almost 20 pounds now. And my body composition has changed a lot, in part because of lifestyle. And so I will tell you first off, right away from the beginning of this class, of course, lifestyle is going to be such a big part that helps you in your journey of supporting your metabolism. But I will also tell you, when I started taking doTERRA's line, we moved from Texas to London. And so my ability to do some of the lifestyle stuff that I had prior implemented had decreased a lot. And I actually lost an additional 5 pounds throughout all of the move. And it wasn't because I wasn't eating enough, I can assure you that. It was because I learned smart ways to support my metabolism and stress levels all throughout the move. And a big part of that was with this line. And so I'm excited to share more about that for myself and also for a lot of other people that have been using this specific new line. So anyways, Morgan's going to share more about why in general, we as Americans need metabolic support and why it's such a huge issue right now. And we're going to talk about the correlation between health span, biological aging, and then metabolic health. And then we're going to break down more of the tools specifically that you can use to slow biological aging and ultimately give you more life in your years, like more energy, more vitality, all of that. So I would love to right now just take a break, and you might be like multitasking. I know it's a Saturday morning over there. You like probably have things you're going to be doing throughout the day, but before we dive into the content we're going to go into today, I just want you to like really think through what it would mean for you to support your metabolism. Like, why does what we're talking about today actually matter and matter for you? You can see these 6 things on the screen. And what I would love for you guys to do, if you're comfortable, is to rate yourself in each of these areas. So energy, if you give yourself a 1, that means that this is a really important area for yourself. And a 10 would mean like, I actually feel really great about my energy. I have awesome energy. This isn't an issue for me. So just go through and think through energy. What are the things you need to have your most vibrant life? Is it energy? Is it weight? Is it mood changes? Like, is it better sleep? Clarity? Maybe decreased stress? So again, I would love for you to rate yourself. So a 1 is you really need help in this area. A 10 means I feel really great about this area. So now that you guys have hopefully rated yourselves and like thought through that, like what this class actually means for you, let's talk about some of the areas that can really impact the results that we're seeing. So you may have seen this before. This is doTERRA's wellness pyramid. And this was created as a way to communicate what's most foundational in our health. And so at the base of the pyramid, obviously, nutrition and digestion, specifically what our body absorbs when we're eating food, is key. This is a huge part of how we support our overall wellness and our vitality. Next up is movement and our metabolism, how our body processes the food and turns it into usable energy so we can have lots of energy to work out and to move throughout the day. Resting, meaning like really good quality sleep and then managing our stress, then reducing toxicity, informed self-care, and at the very top is proactive medical care. And so our heart behind this class for Morgan and I and others in doTERRA is that we can empower you to be as proactive as possible to support yourself in these areas, again, so you're experiencing vitality overall in your life. So let's start with the foundation. What is metabolic health? I think a lot of times when we think of metabolic health, people just think of like, oh, my metabolism is really slowing as I've gotten older. Again, it's like something that's kind of happening to us. And it's primarily regarded a lot as something that's related to our weight and the numbers that we're seeing on the scale, or maybe how we're fitting into our clothes. But ultimately, good metabolic health means your body can digest and absorb nutrients from food with healthy levels of blood sugar, blood fat, and insulin. And of course, like, we all have fluctuations in our blood sugar balancing, all that. That's natural, but it's important to avoid big spikes that can contribute to other unfavorable issues as we get older. So again, good metabolic health means that your body is digesting and absorbing nutrients from food with healthy blood sugar levels. And there's really 5 pillars of metabolic health. And we're not going to talk about these a ton today, but I am going to give you like some practical tools that I use, and we'll share more about these things in our challenge that we'll talk about at the end of this class. But number 1, healthy eating is really important. And so just a really, really simple thing that you guys can take with you is, this year, if you don't already feel comfortable in this area, this is something you could learn more about. Obviously, there's 3 macronutrient groups: protein, carbs, and fat. And when we eat a meal, it's best to pair protein and fat and carbs, all 3 together. And protein especially is what is going to help to balance our blood sugar as we process carbs. So the meals that we have where, like, we just like go out and have a big amount of ice cream or something like that, and there's no protein in with it, that's when those huge glucose spikes happen, and it creates harmful issues over time as we do things like that. So for me personally, in my metabolic journey, I learned a lot about how I was not consuming enough protein. And I wasn't being intentional with pairing my protein all the time with the carbohydrates or the fats that I was having. And so this was a key for me, was learning how to have good proteins with my meals and my snacks and things like that. Daily movement is extremely important for metabolic health. Again, this was a learning thing for me. I was in a season where I was working a lot from my computer or from my phone. And if I wasn't doing those things, I would be maybe sitting at a park watching my kids play, or sitting down with them and doing homeschool. And I realized I was not moving very much. Anybody else been in that circumstance? I realized I was not getting in very many steps in the day. I just wasn't being more active. And something that was really simple that I shifted was when I started, for me personally, having phone calls. I decided as many of them as I can, I'm going to get out and walk while I'm on the phone. Or we started doing little things where we'd eat a family meal and we'd take a short walk afterwards if possible. Or at the park, I was more intentional about like not sitting down and instead getting up and playing with my kids. And those things have made a big difference. Number 3, to support our metabolic health, healthy connections are really important. Go down to daddy. Go down to daddy. Mommy's teaching a class. Sorry, guys. He just woke up from his nap. 4, stress management is extremely important. Cortisol is our stress hormone, and that creates a lot of dysfunction in our hormones in general. So finding ways to manage stress, even as simple as using essential oils, taking some deep breaths in before you go to sleep, can be really powerful for supporting a management of stress in the long term, and healthy hormone levels in general. And then number 5, smart supplementation is key for supporting our metabolic health. So one thing that was really shocking to me as doTERRA started educating about metabolic health was this specific stat, that only 6.8% of the US population have optimal cardiometabolic health. I, in the past, would have maybe thought that people that have diabetes would fit in this category of having bad cardiometabolic health, or people with heart disease. But there are so many Americans that are struggling and maybe have pre-diabetes or other issues where it's like they're not fully in a place where they're in crisis, but they're on their way and they don't realize it. And so I would assume that a majority of us on this call are in a state where we could use additional support for metabolic health. And that's why this is going to continue to become even more of a common theme that you hear people talk about this. I personally feel like I am just seeing a gazillion people right now talking about monitoring their blood sugar and looking at that specifically on social media, in the health realm, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I am excited for all of you and what it's going to look like for you, the results that you're going to see as you support your metabolism moving forward.
And I wanted to pick up from there. I think it's so crazy that our metabolic health as a nation and a country, and then as a world, has declined so much in a very, in the term of like the world itself, a very quick amount of time. And as a healthcare provider, I worked a lot with patients that I would walk in the room, I would know their age like by my list of, their demographics, but I would walk in and I'd be like, holy cow, you're how old? And I walk in and they look 20 years older. Or quite the opposite. I have had some patients where I walk in the room and I think they're 75 and they look like they're in their 50s. So it's something to be aware of, that our age in like chronologic years is so very closely related to our biological age. Every year we get older, every year something changes. But as we age, we start to, I was doing a training, we start to lose basically a ton of the water content in our body, but also a ton of nutrients. And we just don't treat ourselves like we were treated as a baby, like nourished and loved and cared for. And throughout the years of our lives, things change, and added stressors, either emotional stressors or physical stressors, start to compound. So you can tell, like, people who haven't taken care of themselves in any way, emotionally or physically, their metabolic age is not what their biologic age is. But in the same way, you can tell they're totally tied together. So if you're not taking care of yourself, your body is going to know it, and other people are going to start to know it too, and you'll figure it out. But I think it's important to know, like, we may not be feeling awesome, but our healthcare system has great attributes, but we're also keeping people alive, but we're keeping them alive in a more miserable state. Or I have friends and family members who are distant friends and family members who have lived a very long time, but the last 10 years of their lives, they struggled with health problems. And that totally decreased their enjoyment for life. We work and we work and we work, or we do so much stuff when we're younger to try and get us to a place where we can relax and enjoy ourselves and retire and all of that, like, lovely dream. And then we get to that point and we're sick and we're not able to move as much and we're not able to function at a level that we used to be. And unfortunately, that's becoming more and more of a trend. What I think is awesome about paying attention to your metabolic health and being proactive is that we can start to decrease that gap between metabolic health and biologic, like, age, chronologic age. I'm super excited that this line is going to help people support their bodies in that way. And when I retire, or when I stop working, I want to be able to hang out with my grandkids or great grandkids, and I want to be able to run around and pick them up and do all of those things. So that's a huge motivation for me, and I hope that everyone on this call is super pumped to try and get to that point too. Whatever stage you're at, you can always start where you are. You can start fresh, and we're here to support you as a family in doTERRA. Another thing that kind of segues into, and I'm going to get kind of nerdy, thing that segues into um, the the metabolic health is something called NAD+. NAD+ helps support cellular integrity, helps our bodies utilize the food that we take in, the nutrients that we take in, and convert it into energy for the cell to use. And it also helps keep our cells working and functioning as they're supposed to. So not only utilizing the energy, but then working properly instead of spitting out some sort of random mutation. Our cells are working on functioning the way they were meant to. And so NAD+ is something that we sort of get a peak of, or we have a really great amount of until about the age of 20 or 25, but then it starts to decline. And people will notice it. If our cells aren't functioning appropriately, we're going to have fatigue, we're going to have mental fog, we're going to have brain fog, we're going to have cognitive issues where our bodies might start slowing down. We'll feel energetically fatigued. We might notice weight gain. We might notice just different things throughout our day that's like, oh man, I never used to have this, like joint discomfort. But we start to drop that NAD+ pretty steadily unless we're paying very close attention or we're proactive utilizing smart supplementation. If this NAD+ continues to decline, then our bodies start to decline too, because our cells are not functioning the way they're supposed to. I think at the age of 50, we have half of the NAD+ we had at 20. And I think that it would be awesome to find a way to fix that or supplement that. And guess what? doTERRA has a way. All of that is to say, it's important to look at not just NAD+, but blood sugar and inflammation in our bodies. So if our NAD+ is lower and we can find a way to higher it, that's awesome. It will help our cells function better. Other things that can help our cells function better are helping our body get into a better steady state of glucose in the blood and decrease the amount of insulin or extra insulin circulating in our blood. So that sugar in general is an inflammatory substance. So I love sugar. I'm currently pregnant and I absolutely have been craving sugar and loving sugar, and I'm trying to find different alternatives that are safer than just straight up processed sugar. But sugar makes our body, we all need it to run. Our brain needs sugar to function, but more sugar and the improper types of sugar can spike like blood glucose levels throughout our bodies, and these spikes consistently will actually be really harmful to our health. I'll go into that a little bit more. So main thing is with our metabolic health, NAD+, cellular integrity, ultimately, blood sugar spikes, maturing fat cells, and then taking poor nutrients or not getting enough nutrients or taking supplements that aren't actually helpful for us can be really dangerous. Or at least cannot be helping us improve our metabolic health. And like Kristen had done earlier, I think it's just really cool to sit still for a while and think about what you would do if you could improve while you're aging. Your life actually feels more energetic and just filled with vibrancy and vitality. And I think for me, again, it would be hanging out with all my kiddos, traveling, learning new things, meeting new people consistently, and not being too tired or too sore to go out and have adventures. And I think that it's something important to reconsider every time you're doing something that might be hard. Like a life change is hard, but what's harder? And not enjoying the end of your life or the near end of your life, or making small changes every day that will eventually build up and really be helpful. That's why doTERRA came up with MetaPower, and I'm really excited about it. I did a short little video for some of my clients the other day, and I was super quiet on the video, but I was I internally am like excited, but my daughter was sleeping. So my mom mentioned this. She's like, yeah, I know you're pumped about this system. So I have to be like, today I can be loud. Everyone in the house is awake. I can be loud. I love this system. It is a science nerd's dream, especially a health science nerd's dream. doTERRA has done such a great job producing this line, and has been conscious of everything that you could think of when it comes to the super health nuts, but then also everyone who lives their maybe not as much of a health nut life, but really lives and wants to be proactive, but also has reasonable things that they have to do throughout the day. They're busy people. So doTERRA has created this line for convenience, but also for results and support and health. It consists of beadlets, and oil, a supplement called Assist, collagen, gum, and all of those combined have been super, super helpful. Oh, the soft gels as well have been super helpful for convenience, but also success and efficacy. I'm going to get a little bit more into what each component thing does in combination with how it supports our metabolic health. So the oil has ginger, lemon, peppermint, cinnamon bark, and grapefruit in it. And that oil has been tested through doTERRA to have the highest amount of results in decreasing fat cell maturation and over time decreasing the size of fat cells. It helps our bodies take up less fatty acids, therefore at least allowing our fat cells to stay the same size, if not start shrinking. And that's part of our metabolic health. So whenever we measure someone or we check someone out for metabolic health or metabolic syndrome, we are checking their circumferences or some of their measurements or different weights. The less fat you have, the less you weigh in the long run. Fat, it doesn't weigh a ton, but it's even a little bit of fat is something that you'll notice on the scale. But not only that, you're noting circumference and measurements. People have on the MetaPower system have maybe not noticed a complete drastic change in their weight, but they're noticing inches dropped. And that can definitely be a result of the change in the fat cell size. So this oil helps with the fat cell maturation process, but it also helps decrease cravings. So peppermint is really great for cravings. Ginger and lemon have a high limonene content, which is, again, very nerdy, but ultimately just helps support cellular function. And this oil blend is in the beadlets, the soft gels, and all of the MetaPower products, but also the gum. And that makes everything super convenient, but ultimately makes people be able to bring, like, you can bring your oil with you and take it in your water, or you can bring a soft gel and pop it when you're like running on the go. You can have your oil with you at home if you don't want it like an oil bottle roaming around in your purse or your car, but you can have a beadlet where you can stuff that in your purse and throw it in. And thinking about it all the time, you can be like, I have a craving for sugar. Oh, gonna pop a soft gel. Oh, gonna pop a beadlet. It's really great. And you know that it's helping your cells function better and your fat the fat circulating in your system not be taken up as easily.
And
next thing.
Just to add one thing in quick.
Yeah.
I also just learned today, or was listening to somebody share, and they had been using a drop or two of the MetaPower oil in their body lotion every day, and they noticed a huge, I mean, this specific person had lost quite a bit of weight, but through doing that consistently after showering, they noticed that their cellulite had decreased a lot, and they just loved the way it felt in general. And then this person also shared that by when they started using the soft gels consistently, that it actually helped them a lot with the digestion, and they were a lot more regular, which I mean, of course, like kind of makes sense in a way, but it's also powerful to hear that by being consistent with it, that they've noticed that those shifts, obviously.
Yeah. Well, the lemon and the grapefruit any citrus oils are super great for digestion. I'm not sure if our friend Sandy Joyner is on this, but I know Sandy changed her life with wild orange citrus,
Yes.
and that's so helpful for digestive processes. A lot of this is a tangent. I won't go long, but a lot of people think that their acid reflux is because they have too much acid, but I mean, not everyone is the same. A lot of people are actually they don't make enough acid and they're not breaking down their food, and that's what's causing all those reflux symptoms. So people are like, what do you mean lemon? Like, I will tell them, if you have acid reflux, add lemon or wild orange or grapefruit or some sort of citrus oil to your water and it should help. And they're like, wait, that's backwards, I thought I had too much acid. Well, it ends up that a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times people don't have enough, and that's what's causing some of those symptoms. So utilizing the grapefruit and the lemon in that blend could totally make sense that it would help with digestion. Yeah, I love that. And then on top of it, I mean, for me, when I'm pregnant, when I eat too much sugar, I get indigestion. So if you're helping curb your sugar cravings, that could help overall with your digestive process. So it's a
Absolutely.
great segue into talking about what I was talking about earlier. Sugar is an inflammatory thing in our body. It's great in moderation, and we need it to function. But the more sugar that we take in, the higher rates of inflammation, and basically anything that's inflamed in our body um, can lead to chronic disease. Um, Lots of people that have chronic inflammation end up getting really crazy things happening, and their cells aren't functioning well, and they are higher likelihood for developing an autoimmune disease. Number one autoimmune disease I can think of directly related to sugar is diabetes. But sugar also helps no one. High sugar levels helps no one with, uh, you know, joint pain, aches, pains, brain fog, brain function. So too much sugar will make you kind of out of it, and or like super spazzy. I don't know. I notice it all the time if I have too much sugar. Uh, I get super hangry, or I feel really gross if I have too much sugar, because I get excited for a while and then everything drops. So these high and lows with sugar, if they're not stable or not paired with a protein or some other fat to kind of help our body have a better steady state, these highs and lows and drops and dips all the time, even multiple times throughout the day for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 70 years, like that is super offensive to our cells and our organs and the function that they have. So if we can start to stabilize those sugars, that is what's really exciting. And I think one of the key components to stabilizing the sugar is the MetaPower Assist. It has something called mulberry leaf extract and also something called berberine in it, along with the MetaPower oil blend. And those two components are super exciting because berberine is, I just found like 6 different scientific journals, and they're probably in the last 3 or 4 years, showing how berberine helps stabilize blood glucose in diabetics. They're looking at diabetics directly, but they're also looking at people that don't have diabetes. And this berberine helps the body stabilize the blood sugar and then decrease the amount of insulin in the blood too. All of which are awesome components. Mulberry leaf extract additionally is very, very helpful for decreasing blood sugar after meals. So having these 2 things in the assist plus the oil have been they're like, it just blows my mind that the scientists have been able to put these 2 components together and do all the research and then add in the oil, and it does a lot for people. So this is what we usually recommend people will take with their biggest meal of the day, a little bit right before your biggest meal of the day, and it helps stabilize those blood glucose levels. If you take a look at that chart, you can see spike, 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 but if they're taking the assist, it definitely helps level out that. And I think the mulberry leaf extract and the berberine are huge. And a side note, berberine, I just also found articles, they're trying to find, or they're utilizing berberine in combination with a couple chemo drugs that help patients with cancer. And I mean, obviously it's still a lot of research to be done, but just seeing a little glimpse of hope for people that are resistant to cancer treatments, if they add in berberine, it can really help with the process of getting rid of those tumor cells or the really bad cells. That's really exciting. And it's exciting that we've got it in something that we can be proactive with. The other component of the system is collagen, and there's collagen in like every single part of our body. There are 28 types of collagens. They're found in connective tissues, ligaments, muscles, and our heart's a muscle. Our brain is a type of tissue too. Like collagen is everywhere in our body, and if we start to lose collagen, or if we're not making enough collagen and we don't have enough circulating, we're going to see the effects in those systems. So our heart, our brain, our muscles, our joints, they're affected. doTERRA's collagen is a marine-based collagen, so it's sustainably sourced, which is really awesome. It is powdered, so it's not pasteurized. Pasteurizing something, heating it up to a really high level, will destroy bad things, but also destroy good things. So I love that it's in a packet and it's not pasteurized, and you can take it wherever you want. You add it to some cold water, and then it activates when you mix it up. There are 9 different types of collagen specifically in the doTERRA collagen, and it's broken up into tripeptides, which not a lot of collagen companies can say. Tripeptides are easy for the body to absorb. But ultimately, in comparison, if you look at other collagens, doTERRA's collagen is 12 times more likely to be absorbed in the body, which is outstanding. So on top of all of that, it's mixed with not just the collagen itself, but it's mixed with a ton of different ingredients that help with absorption, including NMN, which helps, it's a precursor to NAD+, which we were talking about earlier. So I don't have time to nerd out with you and go through all of the different ingredients of the collagen. I just can tell you they put everything that they could think of that's great for your body in one little packet that's super easy to take with you or have at home. And some people have been adding different things just to spice it up a little bit, even a drop of different oil or adding it with their doTERRA greens, and they love the way it tastes. So I am, like I said, I'm tickled pink about all of these different products. The oil in the soft gels, in the beadlets, in the gum, super convenient. The assist is really great for blood sugar management. The collagen is there, really well packaged for on the go or at home, and all of them are jam packed full of things that are helpful for your body and for your metabolism. And I think what's great is that we can segue now into how people are seeing results with the system. And I know Kristen has already shared a little bit of her story, but we hear stories every day. I hear stories every day of something new that's really awesome to see with MetaPower, and what I wasn't necessarily expecting when they came out with the product itself. So I'll let Kristen take that over and share some of those really great testimonies.
Sorry, thanks for sharing, Morgan. Had myself muted there for a second. Before I dive into some of the results that people see, I just wanted to preface by saying, I truly think it's key. If you're going to give the system a go, you need to commit to 90 days of using the products consistently. And I will be the first to say, vulnerability, it was easy for me to implement the collagen and even the assist on most days, but I have not been as consistent about the soft gels. And in a little bit, I'm going to talk here about timing of when you take everything. And I'm going to talk about some ways to make it sustainable so it is easier to implement in your day-to-day routine. But that really is the key, because that day-to-day implementation is where you're going to see the best results. Because even as Morgan was talking, she talked about the blood sugar balance for just a specific example. Berberine becomes more impactful as we take it every single day. It's not something that you take a couple times and suddenly your life has changed. It's definitely something that you see more results as you're every single day supporting your blood glucose levels. And that's when like the inflammation starts coming down, all these shifts start to happen, everything like that. So just wanted to say the key is really committing to yourself to give it a fair shot and really applying yourself. And number two, I would say, of course, if you can implement anything lifestyle wise, it's only going to enhance what you see with the products. There are a lot of people that have done intermittent fasting, but I personally have chosen not to do that. But I have focused a lot on making sure over the last 2 years that as much as possible, I'm pairing protein with my carbohydrates and fats in my meal. And I also have committed to like trying to work out as regularly as possible. That was a challenge in the move. Last week, I worked out the first time for 4 times in a week. So again, like I am not an example of perfection, but I'm just encouraging you that when you implement some things in there lifestyle wise, it's going to enhance your results. So this first person is Andrea Larson. Morgan and I both went to college with her. And in her first 30 days of using doTERRA's system, she lost 7 pounds. And you can see how like incredible the shifts were in her skin. And she also shared how she was shocked because she's always been somebody that's been pretty not flexible. And at the end of using the system for a whole month, she was able to literally put her whole hand on the ground. So I think that's really cool. And for those of you that struggle with maybe issues being flexible and it causes other problems in your life, obviously flexibility is a great thing for just day-to-day lifestyle. This girl is our friend, Dr. Ashley Anderson. Both of these two that I've just shared are nurse practitioners. And I don't actually have her most recent updates of pictures, but Ashley has now lost 19 pounds and also just like went from, really valuing her skin and investing a lot to take care of her skin to like, in a month, she started getting compliments and people asking her what she had done with her skin. And literally all she had done was implement this system. So again, just a mom, like a doctor, like thriving with like a glow and the aging is like melting away in her body. This girl is Rebecca Hood. Again, you can see like a massive shift in her skin. So beautiful. I like this. I remember she's actually one of our friends from Waco, Texas. And I remember when she was trying it the first 30 days and I was like, Becca, is your skin like, are you seeing a shift? Cause like, I feel like I am. Anyway, she looked back at the pictures that she had taken. Take pictures, y'all. You want to take pictures. And she suddenly realized like, wow, you're so right. My skin has gotten so much better. And then I have a couple testimonies on here from people. Michelle Weaver said, well, she had lost 8 pounds in a month and experienced a lot more sustained energy. Her cravings went away. And she doesn't need coffee all throughout her day. Jessica Idding shared that she can't believe the difference she's felt after 3 weeks. Her brain fog is gone, her energy is up, her skin looks amazing, and her mood is better. And she's slowly starting to lose some weight. I love what Jessica hints here because not everybody's the same, and our time frame and the story that we see might not be the same because all of our metabolisms need support in different areas, and even like the amount of support they need is different. And that's why, again, I encourage everybody to commit to 90 days if you can. And then Julie Haslam shares that she has struggled a lot with brain fog, lack of energy, and quality sleep. And she says she literally will never stop taking this product because of the shift she's seen. This woman here, I actually just was listening to her, her recording. It was recorded and shared. And she is now close to losing 40 pounds and she has 8 kids. This woman has 8 kids. But the coolest part I thought of her story was she said for years she's taken a Tylenol PM because she was recommended by a doctor like, hey, you need sleep. So like it's better to take a Tylenol PM, get your sleep than not. And so she's taken one every single night for years and years and years. And since being on this system, she hasn't needed to take the Tylenol PM because her sleep has shifted so much. And I put, just a smattering. You can see Brandy says that she hasn't taken any meds for sleep in weeks. Laura down here says that she's remembering dreams and she never did before. Alicia shares that her sleep has been the most surprising thing for her. Just like the same, you guys are seeing these themes of like energy, skin, people have lost weights or lost weight or lost inches. This person, Carissa, said her blood pressure regulated. Yeah, just on and on. Diminished cravings. And then this, Emily's husband, Corey, Emily actually shares his story and says that he has been able to go down 3 to 4 notches smaller on his belt, and he's been sleeping better, more energy, like cognitive function so much better, all of that. So anyways, hopefully that gives you guys a good idea of what's possible with this system. And I share that mostly because I want you to get excited and expect these changes, but also I want you to like commit yourself, because that's where the magic happens. So to give you some examples of what your routine can look like, I will say there's so many different versions of this. And I don't think there's a one size fits all sort of answer. There's 2 examples on this screen. So if you want to take a screenshot or something like that, you can, but I'm just going to verbally talk through some examples. One, the collagen, it's a really simple powder. You tear open, you dump it in your water, and you can either use a shaker bottle or some sort of a frother to mix everything in. And the collagen is best, first of all, you want to drink it within 15 minutes. So it's not something to just sip throughout the day. You want to drink it right away, because that's when the ingredients are most active and they're going to give the most benefit to your body. I've read some people will do it first thing in the morning. I've read some people will take it after their workout. And I've also, the woman that I shared that has lost 40 pounds, she actually takes hers at 10 p.m. at night before she goes to sleep. And she's the one that actually said she doesn't have to take a Tylenol PM anymore. So if you're somebody that struggles with sleep in particular, I encourage you to try taking the collagen before you go to bed sometime in your evening routine. And I also will say, if you're somebody that maybe you feel like you're in a space where you need a lot of lifestyle changes, it is allowed to take more than one of the collagen packets in a day. And I know some people that just felt like they needed that additional support and they take 2 packets a day. And I actually did that during our transition with the move. Just on certain days, if I was feeling like a lot of stress and overwhelm, I would use 2 packets as a way to support extra energy and give my body extra ammo to fight against the stress I was facing. So for the second portion of the system, it's the assist supplement. And remember, that's the one that's it's gonna help your body to digest carbs in a more slow and sustained way, so you don't have those huge spikes in your blood sugar. And so I always take the assist before either the biggest meal of the day or right now, I'm just giving you guys the whole story. We're watching The Chosen as a family once a week, and we always have sourdough pizza from this place called Franco Manca. You know, not the healthiest food, but real life, right? I'm all about sustainability. And so I will have my MetaPower Assist, the capsule, 30 minutes before we have that pizza. Or if we're going to have just even some days, if we have multiple times where we're having like higher carbohydrate meals, I will take more than one of the assist. Again, if you're somebody that needs a lot of lifestyle change, the assist is something I've heard some people taking as many as 3 a day before each meal to help support your blood sugar balance. So if you're somebody that knows that you need help in that area, know that you can use more than one in a day. But at minimum, you want to be using one before your largest meal of the day. And then the third part of the system is the oil part of the system. So that can be the beadlets, that can be the gum, that can also be the soft gels. So the woman that I shared earlier that has lost 40 pounds, she actually takes all 3 of her daily soft gels with her lunch. And she does that for multiple reasons. Number one, she talked about how she wants it to be sustainable and she wants to actually get them in. And so in order to remember taking them all, she takes them all in one meal. She also was the one that shared like her bowel movements are a lot more regular and her digestion's been so much better since she's done that. So that's just an idea that I actually want to experiment with, because again, the soft gels have been the hardest part for me. I forget to take them. And so I think if I just take mine all at the same time, it will help a lot more. But I do have the beadlets in my purse, and I think that's an important thing. Like you can have them at your desk, have them somewhere where you're going to remember to use them throughout the day, especially if you have a craving. So a good commitment to make to yourself is like, if you're really craving sugar, or maybe you're like wanting to eat, anybody else have these moments? I want to eat, but I don't actually feel hungry. I'm like, why am I bored eating? What am I doing right now? A good commitment to make is like chew a piece of the gum or take a beadlet before you eat. Or if you have a craving for some sort of sweet, feel free to use the gum or the beadlets beforehand. And yeah, again, the gum, we have that set out like at our desk. I have some in my purse, so it's like something that's easy to access at different times throughout the day. So if you have questions on timing or when to take things, just go ahead and ask those things in the chat. But I'm going to go through some simple steps as we close out the class before our Q&A. So the first step, if you're interested in trying MetaPower in your life, is to obviously purchase the system. And I wanted to give you guys just an idea. Morgan already talked about how there are so many ingredients in the collagen. It is not just collagen. There's so many other beneficial ingredients in there. And this kind of gives you an idea. We have like a vitamin C on here from a popular brand called Peak. It literally costs $66 to get that vitamin C. There's liquid fruit extract for $21. The red orange complex is about $14. Biotin is $22. NMN is $77. Like you can just see all these different ingredients that are in with the collagen. If you added them all together, it would cost over $360. But doTERRA's packaged them in a way where not only are they synergistic and working together, but also they're a lot more affordable to take. So one other thing, if you guys are interested, you can again screenshot this slide. I put this up here just because collagen has become a more popular thing in the health realm within the last couple years. And so my friend Rachel actually made this really helpful chart, and it talks through some of the other popular brands that are out there. For instance, I used to take Vital Protein Collagen. They sell it at Costco. And for years I had gotten that and put it in my coffee. And one thing I found out about that collagen is that it's actually been tested and they have found heavy metals in it. It's so disappointing, you guys. Not to mention the fact that it only has one type of collagen in it versus doTERRA's has 9. doTERRA's been tested for heavy metals. There's nothing like that in there. And because they're made of predominantly tripeptides, do you guys see that column? doTERRA's has 70% tripeptides. Most of the other brands out there have between 15 and 35%. Because of those tripeptides, it's so much easier for your body to absorb and use and get the benefits from. And that's not even to mention all the additional synergistic ingredients. So when you break down the price per serving and compare it to some of the other popular brands out there, like, yeah, it's more expensive than Vital Protein brand that you can get at Costco, but you're not getting your daily serving of heavy metals with your collagen. So
if it makes you feel better, I was using Vital Protein too.
so
Even like into the first 6 weeks of my pregnancy. So, you know, nothing like a little mom guilt to add to the shelf there.
Yeah. And I thank goodness our bodies are meant to detox, right? But also like this is one of the reasons why I love doTERRA so much, is because of the testing that they do to make sure that things are pure. So to get the entire system all together, it's $179 wholesale. And if you are brand new to doTERRA, the great thing is you can actually get your membership waived, and like this is straight up what you're paying for. But as a customer, you can purchase this whole system through the loyalty program, get your shipping for free, and even get points back. So that is the smartest way to do it. Also, when you're purchasing through the loyalty program, when you purchase in future months, obviously the first month you're going to purchase the whole system, but once you have the whole system on hand, you're not going to go through everything. The assist is what I go through, and the collagen are the things I go through quickly. But anyways, the collagen, you can actually purchase the collagen and then get other things as add-ons. So you can get your multivitamin, your omega, or your probiotic. You can do any of those as your add-ons at a discounted price through the loyalty program. And so here on the screen is a QR code. If you actually just take your camera and turn it on and hover over the top of this, a special little link will pop up. And if somebody could actually type it out, just bit.ly/LDC Meta 30. If we can put that in the chat, that is a link to be able to join our community challenge starting on February 6th. So if you go ahead and order your system and then join, all you have to do is register for our community challenge through this link. Then starting February 6th, you'll get a text each day that will have a link on it. And that link will take you to a web browser where it shows you our community challenge. And we'll have a variety of education, inspiration, tips, all those things to support you as you go throughout your challenge. Because again, if you're purchasing this system, we want you guys to really commit to using it on a day-to-day basis so you can see the results and get the benefit from it in your life. And then third, for those of you on here that are like all about the extra freebies, we just wanted to make sure you knew that you can host a MetaPower class just like this on Zoom and invite friends and family to invest into their metabolism or learn more about their metabolism with you. And by doing that, we'll actually give you 5 extra days of the MetaPower system to use as well. So it's a fun way to help your family to learn more about metabolism. And I loved hearing what, again, the woman that's lost like almost 40 pounds, she shared about how almost her entire family now is using the system, and like all of them are reporting back that they're losing inches and feeling better and having energy and vibrancy. And ultimately at the end of the day, that is Morgan and I's goal, is that you guys would all see those shifts in your life and in your spheres, and that as a result of that, you know, we can all be more vibrant, living our purpose because we're feeling awesome even as we age. And so now we'll wrap up with some time for Q&A. And again, there's a little QR code on the screen that has some frequently asked questions on